Welcome to Revoicing the Future, a podcast amplifying women's voices in the music industry. Just as revoicing a chord creates a completely new perspective on the invaluable notes that make up the whole, we're doing the same, giving women the space, the spotlight, and the seat at the root they've always deserved. Every month, join us for candid conversations and stories worth hearing from the women who make up this industry. This is their platform. Together, we shape the industry, one interval at a time. Revoicing the Future is presented by Women of NAMM, powered by AKG, and co-produced and edited by Natalie Morrison, Stephanie Lamond, and Julia Olson. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Revoicing the Future. I'm your host, Natalie Morrison. Happy August. We are here. I can't believe the summer is almost over. Where's the time going? 2026 is in the back half of the year. Summer's almost over. It's wild. Big shout out to everyone who has been listening and following along. A big shout out to Julia for editing all the episodes, but also for writing such a beautiful piece on our Substack. And speaking of our Substack, if you aren't aware, Revoicing the Future has expanded to Substack. Essentially, it is our community hub. We send out an email every single time an episode or an article goes out. And it really is a place to kind of bridge the gap between the people that we get to talk to every single day, week, month. It's called Revoiced, right? To play on words a little bit, where the conversation continues. And all of the information on how to subscribe and to join and to follow along is all in the description below. But if you just go to revoiced.substack.com, that'll take you to all the articles that have been written. And we want to hear from you. We want this space to be a place for people to share ideas, to write about topics that they are personally passionate about. So if there is a topic related to women in the industry, women in business, women in music, please reach out to me. We are always looking for new ideas. We are always looking for new voices to highlight. So if you want to participate in that, we would love to have you. So find me on Instagram, reach out to me. We have also done some awesome articles telling multiple people's stories. We did a whole one about women in the industry who are mothers that have taken significant time off to be full-time moms before returning to the industry. So we really have been diving into some really cool topics. And Julia this past month wrote an article from Tiffany's episode and the art of listening and what we discussed at our NAMM show session earlier this year. It all tied together very nicely. So if you haven't gotten a chance to take a look at that, I highly recommend it. But yeah, any ideas for article types, if you want to write an article, topics, you name it, we want to hear from you. So please reach out. Also, if you have guest recommendations for interviews to have monthly, please also let us know. We are always searching for new voices to highlight. So again, this is very much a who do you want to hear from call to action. And with that, I'm really excited to introduce our guest today. I had the honor and privilege of getting the opportunity to speak with Mayumi Allison. She is the CEO of HOSA Technology, and we had just the best time really diving into her journey of not wanting to be part of her family business at all to eventually now leading the company, and just her commitment to her family's legacy, her legacy, and her involvement in the industry and how it's really kind of shaped who she is today. So with that, sit back, relax, grab your favorite snack. Don't forget to subscribe to our Substack and also our Instagram Revoicing the Future podcast. And I will see you next time. Hi, Mayumi. Welcome to Revoicing the Future. We are so honored to have you join us on the podcast.
Hi, Natalie. Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be here.
So I'd love to learn about your overarching story. What was your path to work in your family business, and how did music find you ultimately?
Well, to be completely honest, I had no intentions of joining the family business. It really wasn't part of my career path, but it found me. And my mom is the one that helped me find music and actually helped me join the family business because she was really the catalyst that encouraged me to do that. Cables and adapters and selling those kinds of things didn't seem very exciting to me. And so I wasn't quite interested. In addition to that, I'm a strong individual and I didn't want to ride on my dad's coattails per se. I wanted to be successful on my own merit. And so I was really determined to do something completely separate than to join my dad.
Yeah, that makes sense. As you grew up in that family dynamic, what was your introduction to music?
I was forced to play piano. I wish I stuck it out. Given a choice, I might have stuck to whatever instrument that would have been. But what I was exposed to was music and arts. My mom loved the arts, whether it's musicals, theater, concerts, everything, symphonies, ballets, all of that. She was the one that introduced me to all of those things. So music's always been a part of my life and in my family.
We're going to slowly kind of get to where you are now. So growing up and watching your father, I know you said that you didn't have any interest at all with cables and adapters and all that stuff, but you watched your father build HOSA from the ground up. What did you actually see close up? Like, did you get the opportunity and a taste of what running the business was like, or was it kind of more background to your kind of upbringing?
I would say originally it was in the background to my upbringing. What I did see was how hard my dad worked. He worked day and night. He traveled all over the US and internationally. So I saw a lot of hard work, good work ethic, determination, and passion in what he did. And so it showed me what can happen if you worked hard and you were determined and had a goal, then you could do just about anything. So that's what I saw growing up.
That's cool. And when you ultimately chose the career path of your choosing at that time, right? Because you had a whole career in mortgage banking. So was that your goal? It's like, I'm going to go into banking. Like, did you have a goal in mind ahead of time going into this?
I knew I wanted to do some kind of business. I just didn't know what. Growing up, I wanted to do fashion, and that sounded exciting to me. But I kind of fell into mortgage banking right out of college. And I fell into a temp job at a mortgage company, and I learned as I went, and I found it fascinating. And my passion of like helping other people, it really fed that desire because you're helping people get into homes and get a loan and help them with their finances. And so that really was what excited me. And that's kind of how I fell into it. And I did it for close to 13 years before I joined my dad's business. Yeah.
When the call came, I'm imagining a phone call of like, come on and join the family business.
Yeah.
When that hypothetical call came to step in, what tipped it for you ultimately to finally, hey, I'm going to do this. I think it's time.
So my dad was looking to slowly retire and he didn't want to sell the business. He loved what he did. It was his baby and he really valued his employees. And he knew that if he sold, there would be a chance his employees would lose their jobs. And so my mom was the one that was, again, the catalyst. I was the one with the business degree. And so she was really pushing me to join the family business. And it just happened at kind of the right time. I was on maternity leave with my second child. And it gave me an opportunity to come to HOSA and take phone calls and take orders and meet with the people and see what my dad had built. And it was very eye-opening and pleasantly surprised. And the people that worked for my dad, everybody loved what they did and they were passionate and just great people. And that's what kind of pulled me in. And I finally, by going to the office and seeing what my dad did and learning a little bit more about the business, I saw it more now than just cables and adapters selling me, right? It was about building upon what my dad built, his legacy. It was amazing to hear all these great things people had to say about my dad. And so it was an easy decision once I came to the office and learned a little bit more of what my dad had built. Yeah.
That's really interesting to hear because sometimes we put these narratives in our head of like what something is that we've been around our whole lives. But then when you actually go behind the curtain, it's a totally different experience.
One of the things that I was like, oh, my dad's actually built something that people know about. When I was working in mortgage banking and I had a coworker who was in a band And I said, oh, my dad is kind of in that industry. He sells cables and stuff. And then he said, oh, what's the name of the company? And I said, it's called HOSA. I said, have you heard of it? He's like, your dad is the founder of HOSA? Like, he was impressed and surprised. And he's like, I can't believe that. And so I was like, oh, wow, that's interesting. Because, I was not in that circle. So I didn't know that my dad had built a brand that people recognized and liked. So yeah, that was nice to hear.
That's so cool. Was your first NAMM show experience when you first started at the company?
Growing up, I used to attend the NAMM show as a kid with my mom and see the booths. So I've seen the booths kind of change over time. And then I have a younger sister, but she was off in college. So probably in my early 20s, I'd be forced to, you got to come to the Christmas party. You got to come to the Christmas party. So I was always going to all the Christmas parties, even though I wasn't an employee. So, I got to know people and learn a little bit more about the people that work there. So yeah, I did see things along the way, but yeah, from an outsider's kind of point of view.
I've talked to a lot of women in our industry who have come from family businesses. What makes our industry so unique is there's so many family businesses.
Yes.
And the generational shifts when a new generation comes in, right? We see that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But we also hear the stories of people going their separate ways, having their own kind of journey and career path before ultimately coming back, whether planned or unplanned.
Right.
Were your parents supportive of that decision to follow that different path a bit, or did you feel a sense of pressure?
I never felt pressure. I don't think there wasn't any oh, you have to come join the family business. That was never a conversation. They wanted me to do whatever I wanted to do, what made me happy. I think my happiness was more important than taking over something that I might not be passionate about. So yeah, they were very supportive. Also, unintentionally, I think anybody that's planning to or considering joining their family business, I think working for somebody else, somewhere else is just invaluable because you learn so many different skills from sales to marketing to managing people, all these skills that you need to run a good family business. If all you did was work in the family business, you don't have that outside knowledge and experience. Right. So I felt like that was one of the reasons I think that I was able to successfully kind of take over is because I did have that experience and I was able to bring ideas to the table to help improve operations and efficiencies and things of that nature.
That's a great tie-in to kind of my next question. Was there anything specific that you learned in the mortgage banking era of your life that you use today in your leadership role within the company?
Working with different types of people and learning how to know your audience, I think it was invaluable. In the very beginning, just simple things like an org chart, a structure. I came to HOSA, and one of the things was there wasn't really who do you report to? Who do you call when you're going to call in sick? And they're like, oh, we just call your dad. I'm like, really? So I feel like my dad did so many great things and I wanted to preserve all the good things. And then I brought things that I can improve. And one-on-one was just basic org chart. Let's, you report to this person. If you have any questions, that's who you go to. Just simple things like that, I think help with efficiency and communication.
That's so interesting. I mean, everyone runs businesses differently, right?
Right.
But interesting how even the simplest things that you wouldn't necessarily think about that were just ingrained in corporate life.
Yeah, because, my dad started with himself and then another employee, and he slowly organically grew, so there wasn't a structure put in place. Yeah.
So going off of this same idea of succession planning in this family business world, what was your first role when you came into HOSA? I know you said that it was originally to help kind of get your father to start retiring. So what was that first introductory role for you?
I would say it was a crash course in learning the musical instrument industry because I was used to selling a loan, which is not a physical product. And now I'm selling things in an industry that I'm not familiar with at all. So that's where I had some, not reservations, but some insecurities. I came from an industry where I was very comfortable. I knew what I was doing. I was a subject matter expert on certain topics. And so that was comforting. But coming into this industry, know nothing about musical instrument industry. In addition to that, I had to learn how to run a business. So I did a lot of listening, a lot of learning. I sat with my dad a lot. He was old school, so there wasn't a lot of things in writing. So I had to listen and take good notes. So I did a lot of that with my dad, but I also sat with the employees I was learning from them
Mm.
just as much as they could learn from me, but I had a lot of learning to do. So I sat with them, listened. I learned each department, operations, picking, packing, customer service, finance, operations, inventory management, all of those things I had to learn. And so I did a lot of learning. I did also a lot of traveling. I traveled across country, meet customers because I wanted to learn the market and how we were perceived and what we could do better. And so I traveled across country with all different sales reps across the country. I went overseas to meet customers there as well and meet with vendor partners, building on the relationships that my dad had already built and learning the business.
Was there a moment in those first couple of years where you questioned like every decision that you made? And how did you get through that hurdle of like, oh, what did I just kind of step into?
Mm-hmm. Yes, and yes. I obviously had doubts coming in and being the owner's daughter. I needed to build trust. I needed to build credibility. And so I had a fear that I'd come in and there'd be like, there's nepotism and, oh, you're just here because you're show's daughter. So yes, those were some of my fears. And what was helpful was I had amazing people to learn from that knew the industry. So I really leaned on the staff, the employees. They were really great and they knew what they were doing. So they made that easy for me.
I know that feeling of carving your own path. Was there a moment then when you realized like, oh, I got this? That fear of, oh, you're just riding the coattails. Oh, like the nepotism aspect kind of dwindled away and it was kind of your show.
Well, one, I felt like I was successful, like I was happy with what I did in my previous career and the successes that I had there. So I was comfortable in my own skin that way. But yeah, I mean, I can't believe it's almost 16 years since I joined the family business. And just hearing positive feedback, I think, from employees, from other business partners, and also hearing from my dad. In my culture, you don't get a lot of compliments. The Japanese culture, it's you get the work done and there's not a lot of attaboy, you're doing a great job, I'm proud of you. So to hear my dad tell me how proud he was of me was great and rewarding.
Yeah, that's awesome. One of the things when I was doing my research about you going into this is your company's tagline is connecting what moves you. And I really love that. From kind of what I've read about you is that you try to embody that through every aspect in your role. So can you walk us through what that means to you, what that looks like for you, especially as a leader and the CEO of the company?
I would say what moves me is people. I love people. And that's what hooked me into joining the family business. It was the people that I met, not just the employees, but just customers, partners. I mean, everybody in this industry is incredible. And so that's what hooked me. That's why I love what I do. And that's what keeps me here is the connections that you have with different people and the amazing relationships that I've made, not just continuing some of the ones that my dad has made, but, creating my own. And so I love getting to know different people. And it's a relationship. Our industry is relatively small and it's made up of relationships. And so that's what I love about what I do in our industry. And at the end of the day, you end up spending more time at work than you do at home. So you really got to enjoy the people you work with and you got to love what you do. And I feel like I found that here.
You're building a culture, right, that keeps people happy and excited and inspired.
Doing my best.
I know this is a very broad question, but what inspires you through the work that you get to do? What keeps that spark as you grow the business, as the industry grows, everything changes?
What inspires me to keep going is one, my dad and what he built and the legacy that he created. And I want to continue that. But also, like I said, it's amazing. I have incredible employees and they love working here and they're on the journey with me and they're always looking for ways to grow HOSA and make it better. And that's hard to come by. And so that makes me want to keep going because they want to succeed and do better. And I think that's amazing.
So you're now serving on the NAM board of directors.
Yes.
What made you say yes to that? And what are you hoping to bring to the table for the industry?
I think I would be crazy to say no. It's amazing. Like, who would say no, right? Like, it's such an incredible honor and a privilege and opportunity to be around, like, really the top leaders in our industry and hear from them and learn from them is incredible. And what I hope that I'm bringing to the table is a fresh perspective. I think a lot of people assume that if you're a manufacturer or brand, that you're this large company, and we're a small family business. And so to bring that perspective, also, I feel like we need more women representation on the board and in the industry. And so I'm proud to be one of those voices on the board. And I'm hoping we could bring more women onto the board.
Yes, I'm here for that. Always.
Yes.
Was this your first fly-in?
Yes, it was.
Oh my gosh, what was that like? Did you have an expectation going into it? And then after attending it, did it change? Or what was that experience like for you?
So what really drove me to attend was all the things that are happening with the tariffs and how it's impacting not just my business, but everyone's business. And so I was nervous. I didn't know what to expect. And wow, I mean, NAM does an incredible job with every event that they have. And it's so well organized and so supportive, and they make sure you're prepared. So it was just an incredible experience. And I got to meet more people in our industry and make connections there. Again, the people aspect. So yeah, it exceeded all my expectations, and I'm really glad that I did it.
That's awesome. I haven't been able to do it. It's on my bucket list of things to do. But everyone that I talk to, they go in not knowing what to fully expect, and then they leave, and just the inspiration. And I did the California fly-in for music education this year, and I was just like, oh, this is why I do what I do. And
Yes,
right?
yes.
It was just really empowering, right? It kind of brings a different perspective also to what we're doing in our day-to-day.
Yeah, you get to see a different side of our industry, and especially for me, because obviously we support band and orchestra and education, but it's another segment of our industry that I'm not as close to. So I got to meet different people in our industry and see it from a different viewpoint. And so it was incredible.
I really love that. It seems to be a theme this year with the women that I'm interviewing, is that it's the people aspect that's truly kind of a driver and a fuel for everything that we do. And I really admire that, because I feel like, especially we've been out of the COVID stuff for a while, but after being so isolated for that long, just hearing that need and that joy of connecting with others, it's very, very heartwarming.
I think it's really important.
So going back to your tagline of connecting what moves you, I did read your feature in the Transformational Women in Family Business 2023 article. As someone who's spent her career connecting with people, what do you currently see, and what do you hope to see for women in our industry right now?
I think there's so much opportunity for women in our industry. I feel like there's a lot more of us than we know and we think, and we just need to find each other and band together and support each other. I think that only makes us stronger individuals, better leaders. Yeah, especially at the fly-in, I met a lot more women in our industry, and I think we need to find each other and do a better job of supporting each other. And I think sky's the limit.
Sky's the limit. Do you have any advice for women who are currently in the industry or that are looking to grow into more leadership roles? What advice do you have for them?
My advice is to be inquisitive and ask questions. And when there's opportunities to engage and participate, I would do it. And NAM is a great place to start. Again, I'm impressed at how well things are run, whether it's a NAM show, a DC Fly-In, or any other event. I mean, they do an incredible job, and they bring so many people together. And so just putting yourself out there and being open to learning and not being afraid to ask questions.
Thank you so much for sharing your journey and being part of the conversation. We always like to end our episodes with really wanting to know who you are outside of your work. Like, what brings you joy? And who is Mayumi outside of HOSA?
I am a mother. I'm a wife. I'm actually a grandmother.
Oh my gosh, congratulations.
Thank you very much. And what brings me joy is really my family, my kids, just spending time with family and friends, traveling. I love concerts, just experiencing life and spending it with the people that I love, and creating memories is what I love to do outside of work.
Do you have an all-time favorite concert that you've been to?
I've been to so many. I think Prince was amazing. Oh. Yeah. My kids laughed at me because when I heard he passed away, I got emotional.
So I did too. I love Prince so much. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah. So that was incredible. I saw him at the Staples Center. That was an incredible concert. I was very impressed.
I'm also a big concert goer. I have a notes app on my phone of all the concerts that I've ever been to with like the date and the location so that I know like going back like who I've seen.
I wish I would have done that. I actually have the old tickets or physical ones, but yeah.
That's awesome.
I should have written all those down too. That's a long list.
I think I started it right after COVID because I was so deprived from live music that when I started going to concerts again, I just started to go to concerts again. I just like filled it up and just wanted to reminisce on those memories. And
I think that's a great idea because of the industry we're in. We get asked that a lot, like, what's the best concert you've ever been to? So yeah.
I mean, Prince is a really awesome answer. I'm really jealous of you for that. That's amazing. Well, Mayumi, thank you so much. I'm truly honored that I got to spend this time with you and learn about your story.
Thank you for having me. I'm very honored to be here.
And shout out to Erin Kessler because she was like, oh, you have to interview her. So
she's so sweet.
Yeah. So thank you again and for all that you do for our industry. And yes, we will band together and keep bringing more women to the forefront.
Yes. Thank you for doing what you do and giving us a voice. And I think it's fantastic.
Thanks.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Revoicing the Future. You can subscribe to the podcast on all major streaming platforms or on our website. Be sure to follow us on social media to stay connected on all things women in the music industry. This podcast was co-produced and edited by Natalie Morrison, Stephanie Lamond, and Julia Olson.